Alright troops, what's happening? He's all good? I'm alright man, I'm just plodding on. Was back at my class today, the jiu-jitsu one that I was saying I'd started last year. Um, I'd had a few cans for the football yesterday obviously, and then as soon as the game finished my pal had to take me to pick up my new snake. For those of you who don't know, I've actually already got two corn snakes. But this one's a python. It's actually like a young python, but it's fucking big for a wee one, know what I mean? It was a shame. I was up at pet shop in a couple of weeks back, and the lassie in the pet shop was, this was ages ago, she was letting me hold the pythons, right? And I was saying, oh, I want one of these, they're beautiful, blah blah blah. They actually look just like the one I got. And then when I went up a couple of weeks back to get food for my lizard, she's like, oh, there's a lassie selling her python with the full cage and all the stuff and blah blah blah. She's only wanting 60 quid for it. Now the cage is about, this cage would be about £100 to buy off Amazon. Um, and I was like, fucking hell, you don't need to tell me twice, know what I mean? I just love, I'm not into aggressive fucking snakes, no, I wouldn't keep it aggressive, know what I mean? Fuck, had enough aggressiveness in my life, know what I mean? But it was a rescue. Apparently this lassie like took it off somebody or whatever, because like the fucking was getting flung about and Waynes were colouring it in with inkies and all that. Fucking, that just fries my brain when I hear people mistreating animals, know what I mean? It really bugs me. I always say you can tell a lot about somebody by how they treat animals, know what I mean? So was quite happy to get it. I need to kind of swap the python with one of the corns cages, because the corns cage is bigger. But I'll need to get round to all that. But I was glad to just get out of that fucking class today with my fucking my guts and my arms intact as well, know what I mean? So just, I hate it when there's these kind of holidays like Easter, Christmas, fucking this and that, and it's like, fuck's sake, the classes are all off. But I'm going up to one of the jails on Wednesday again, to, I think it's more agents visits, and might be doing something with the young offenders as well. I think going up to talk to them, or fuck knows what we'll see, know what I mean? So what was I got to say? So I was thinking about, I'd actually wanted to talk about this video a wee while back. No, this video, this case, sorry. And it's quite a unique case, because you don't really hear a lot of people being murdered in this fashion. And the case that I'm referring to is the poor lassie, Asian lassie, who was pushed from Arthur's Seat back in 2021. Now, I remember this being publicised at the time, but I didn't really follow the case. To be honest, I'm kind of like that. See, unless there's like some serious overt pathology going on, it doesn't really catch my interest. And when I say overt pathology, what I mean is a kind of series of violent incidents where the offender is clearly acting out some weird kind of ritual that's only means something inside that person's head. So an example would be somebody committing murders and leaving clasps of hair in the victim's hands, and that was actually a case I'll do a video on. It was in England. But this case was quite unique because, is what I said, the lassie was pushed to her death from the summit of Arthur's Seat, and I actually didn't know that was an extinct volcano. I'd actually walked up it for the first time at the beginning of 2023 with two pals of mine. Lovely views at the top. So you can walk up one side of it, but on the other side there's this kind of big drap with all these gorse bushes and shit at the bottom, so if you lost your footing and you were pushed or you fell down here, man, it's not looking good. Um, but this poor lassie was she was a lawyer from Leeds. Her name was Fawziyah, right? Obviously Pakistani descent. Second generation, I think. Had a lot going for her, man. A bright lassie by a lot of people's kind of uh, evidence and for knowing her and all that kind of stuff. She had a job as a lawyer, and she met she met this guy who was he's like worked in Optical Express or Vision Express or something. So right away there you have a kind of I don't want to put like make it like people can't get together because one's got a better job than the other. That happens all the time. Like, oh, I work in Vision Express, but she's a lawyer. Like, if you love somebody, you love somebody. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really mean that that's a reason not to go with somebody. But obviously, for somebody with seemingly narcissistic traits, that's like an imbalance in their mind, because the guy having a lesser job than his partner, his female partner, I imagine that must have caused some sort of inferiority complex to be triggered. And the reason that I say that is because when he started going with the lassie Fawziyah, so it was 2019 he started going with, so like no long, like a month before I got out of jail, right? So we're talking about a couple of weeks, right? The start of August, September, something like that. But they were married a short time later. But I don't know, like in for having a lot of kind of contact with people from like Pakistani backgrounds, Asian backgrounds. There's a lot of kind of it's like conservative kind of outlook in relation to male and female relations, and that's kind of just the way it is for them. Do you know what I mean? But I do believe that she was a bit more, she was a wee bit more liberal, and I say a wee bit, like I don't mean like she had a lot going for her and all that. Do you know what I mean? But after a while, the kind of the controllings all started, not allowed to wear makeup, deleting fucking making her delete her social media, so like it's called controlling and coercive behaviour, in the kind of realm of, see, like domestic abusers and all that. And there's obviously a pattern when it comes to like domestic abusers. Men and women have arguments all the time, right? And I've seen relationships where the woman was clearly like toxic, right? But I've also seen relationships where the male is, and I feel that sometimes it's almost like it didn't happen if the woman assaulted the guy, but if the guy assaulted the woman, it'd be a different matter. But in this case, it was clearly this lassie wasn't toxic at all. She just met a toxic guy, and sadly, ended up culminating in a very, very bad situation. Do you know what I mean? Because if any's have watched the documentary on Channel 4, right? It's called The Push. And it's quite fascinating. If any of you guys, obviously, if you've watched this channel but you've never been in a court, I would advise you to watch this documentary about this case. It's a murder case, obviously, and it was quite fascinating because obviously they're videoing the trial. So if any's ever watched like Law and Order, that format, it's arrest and trial sort of thing. Where you're seeing people giving evidence, you're seeing prosecutors, defence lawyers questioning witnesses, you're seeing the accused in the dock, the judge. So you're seeing a unique. That's a unique window into the Scottish legal system at play in real. I don't mean real time like you watched it as it happened, but you're seeing it years later. I'm seeing it years later, but this was recorded at the time, so it will give you a good insight into also this case, but also how a murder trial would take place. And when I was watching it, there was a lot of interesting things that came out because obviously like I'd read up a wee bit on it, and then watching this would kind of fill in the blanks. But apparently when he had started going with her, like as I say, he's been incredibly controlling, and they played in court a very damaging phone call because obviously there's been this pattern of abuse. It started out with the kind of the controlling and he was stealing money out our bank and just the narcissism was ripping out him. And see, when I was looking at this guy in the dock, he just looked like a fucking spoilt wee brat. It probably his arse wiped for him all his days. Do you know what I mean? And when they'd said in court, but they played in court, she'd reported him for domestic abuse, right? And obviously the cops were in with the video camera, know how the chest camera and all that. And this poor lassie was saying about how he'd put a, excuse me, sorry, he'd put a pillow out her face and was like punching the pillow and all that. You know what I mean? Like, just being an absolute narcissistic. This killer, right? He was a classic textbook case of a narcissistic domestic abuser. And I think it wasn't long before this poor lassie's realised I've made a mistake with this guy here. Do you know what I mean? And they played a phone call between him and her because she left him, right? Because obviously she has to get away from him because something's not right. Do you know what I mean? And in the phone call, you just, honest to God, man, I was just getting angry listening to him. I wanted to actually, like, just jump through the telly and just batter him up and down his fucking living room, to be honest. He was giving it like, I mean, who the fuck do you think you are? You're not going to be a British woman. I think maybe he's been trying to, like, fucking get the hooks in her in that way where you've married me now, you're subjugated to me now, you get in, see one of they ones, fucking women's places in the kitchen and chained to the fucking sink sort of thing. And the Mary was talking, I just thought, what, mate, you just need a right good fucking tanking. Sorry to say that, but that's just my thought. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just comes out when I see fucking heavy duty liberties, because this lassie was like, you could just tell what, she just didn't have a bad bone in her, man, do you know what I mean? She just seemed like she was just looking for that Prince Charming, do you know what I mean? Because I'm gone with the accounts that people have all spoken about her, and to think that somebody was basically killed for falling in love is fucking. And what made it worse was, on the phone call, he was heard to say, "You're nothing but a fucking disease, and the quicker you're dead, the better." Now, playing that to a jury when you're on trial for killing the person you say that is just not a good fucking look. And the funny thing is, I think a lot of us have made what you would call a throwaway comment, or you say something in anger. Or like, remember you heard your wee pals more shouting, "I'm gonna fucking strangle you" or something. But if you actually turned up strangled after that, then the person that says that's not gonna look too fucking hot. Gonna end up in soapy bubble, know what I mean? And I was thinking to myself, all the stupid things I've ever said in my life, a lot of things I wish I could take back. And thinking, like, I've said some bad shit in my life, man, back when I was just a fucking wee bastard, know what I mean? Um, when I was in the throes of my rage, because of the way I was jumping about back in my teenage years and that, and thinking to myself, but this guy, I think that was the seed planted in his mind. He was going to kill her because she had left. She ended up leaving him, and she was pregnant at the time. But and I think that in his mind, like, know how they have that honour based killings and all that, it started to sound that's what it was turning out to be, because not the fact that there's this honour based thing with this guy, and he's just narcissism ripping at him. Um, it's not a good combo at all. And I think that this was premeditated by a long shot. He's had this big, he had this big kind of, it's like the wedding and all that, and uh, then he's been like that to her. Mum will go up to Edinburgh. They've, they were for Leeds, doing that way, so it's not that far, but it's far enough, innit? Taking in the sights of Scotland, because at first when I seen this case, I actually thought they were a Scottish couple, like Pakistani bit of heritage, and he's walked her all the way up Arthur's Seat, but it's been dark by the time they've got to the tap, and then when they've got to the tap, he's just shoved her right off the edge, but the steep bit, no the bit you walk up with the fucking, the drap, know what I mean? And I've been up there. It's one of the ones, it was a windy day, man, I couldn't wait to get to fuck back down, know what I mean? Like, right, we've been up here 5 minutes, let's get to fuck, because I don't like being up that high for too long, know what I mean? And he shoved her over the edge. Now this is a pregnant lassie as well, remember? And the fact that he could do that not only to his wife, who he professed to love, right, but his unborn child is just another level of fucking, it's just a different level of scumbag, innit? How could, not to me, nothing could ever be worth doing that. Break up, right, fuck it, man, lick your wounds and fucking pedal on, innit? Nothing could be worth, I don't get how you could be that twisted in the mind. Like, you would actually go out premeditatedly fucking throw your wife off the fucking off a fucking an extinct volcano. And the ironic thing is, if any remember the last video I done about that John Gardner, the guy that was in my section in shorts, how he said, my wife fell and banged her head in an argument, so I panicked and fucking wrapped her body up and fucked her in the river leaving. And I said, how? No, the first thing you would do is phone 999. MD dies, you need to report that. If you're at the scene, obviously, because if you it's, I think it's the law, if you actually flee a murder scene, you're probably got to be classed as a suspect now, no a witness. And the first thing that this fucking arsehole done, phoned his dad. And the weird thing is, he had her phone on him, and I think he used the wrong phone and then hung up. He was phoning his wife's dad. He's just pushed her over the fucking edge and phoned him back to him, but hung up, right? And then he phoned his own dad, and it was like a minute. It said in court it was a minute long phone call, and he won't speak. He won't talk about what that phone call was about. Now, if I had to make an educated guess, I would bet my fucking bollocks that he's been, how do you put it, confiding in his dad about what to do and how should he handle this, and kinda know where I'm going with that, don't you? And the incredible thing is that when one of the witnesses have dialed 999, right, you could hear him talking as well, and it didn't sound that. One of the witnesses saying court he was all fucking anxious, and I think it was an act, because when somebody had him on the phone to the emergency services, he sounded a bit too calm for me. It didn't sound like, I would see if my bird fell off a fucking volcano and she fell off, I'd be like, you fucking better get up here, you fucking bum. See, like, shouting at him and all. He was just like pure blasé about it, man, and I'm like, what the fuck, man, like, just getting after wrong signals. But one of the policewomen or something got up to her, and one of the emergency services anyway, and said, what's happened to you? So the poor lassie was lying alive at this point at the bottom of the drop. It's just a big steep incline, right? It's like rock face and then just all these gorse bushes in it, so oh jeez, man. It's pitch black as well, know what I mean? And she said to the lassie who'd been pushed, she said to her, what's happened? And she said, don't bring my husband near me, he pushed me. And she said, but I can't remember. But you need to remember something. Like that would just be a nightmare scenario. I'd imagine you would be kind of shocked and just in so much fucking pain and agony, but also scared shitless. Do you know what I mean? It was just horrible, wasn't it? And she's like, that, am I gonna die? Is my baby gonna die? And all that. Just horrible to even hear the words getting spoke, do you know what I mean? And then you're looking at this wee fucking cockroach in the dock, you know what I mean? You're just sitting going, mate, if you're talking about honour, then to me the honourable thing would be just to off him after it, man. Like, fucking, I just don't understand, like, evil like that. I do and I don't, if you get me. Like, so I think sometimes we try to, But sometimes I think you can just there's no, you can try and understand it, but there's no justification for it like that, man. I don't give a fuck what society we're in, but you might go, oh well, so how should we kill him after that if you're saying you can't justify what he done? But put a rabid dog doing on it, fuck's sake. This poor lassie was doing everything right in her life. The only wrong mistake she probably ever made in her fucking life was marry this fucking bottom, know what I mean? It's just a sad fact, do you know what I mean? That there's just people like this walking about out here. Some are in prison, do you know what I mean? It's a horrible thing. But when I was watching him in court, it was kinda doing the fucking eyebrows to his family and all that, and I'm sitting looking at him going, did he think he was getting off with this? I do believe that he thought that was his best shout. That was his best shout of walking for a murder. I walk my missus up the top of an extinct volcano, shove her over the edge and just hope fucking for the best. And there was somebody on the programme that actually says we had to consider the fact that he says actually did at first think it was an accident. But I'm just suspicious as fuck, man. The first thing in my head would be, we need to rule you out for, know what I mean? We need to rule you out for fucking the possibility that this wasn't an accident, know what I mean? But he was found guilty, and the judge sentenced him to a minimum of 20 years, which you could say, obviously we all think differently, we all judge time differently. I think I've just got a weird way of judging time because of how much fucking time I've done. And for what he done, I would say he's got about 25 at the least for that. Do you know what I mean? Because he's killed an unborn baby as well, do you know what I mean? That aggravates the murder, doesn't it? But 20 years ago, I think the family were kind of happy with it, to be honest, when you watched them at the end and all that. But I think they started I think the family started like a foundation in their daughter's name, which is a noble cause as well, I feel. Do you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes victims of crime can be forgot at times, whereas there's too much focus put on the person who committed it. But the sad fact is you wouldn't know who the victim was if the killer or the person never done what they done, know what I mean? But I hope that helps people like that charity and that, because it is a good thing to do, and there's probably a lot of people out there who don't report this type of thing. Do you know what I mean? They think, oh, they'll change, and do you know what I mean? You only change if you want to. Do you know what I mean? Obviously I've got personal experience with change, but nobody's perfect. I'm no fucking perfect, man. Know what I mean? But I do try, and I do want to be a better person, and I try to be a better person. But the thing with me is, like, I know when somebody's taking me for a fucking idiot, or when somebody's in the wrong, do you know what I mean? Like shit with my bra or that, and like I'm just like, no mate, just had enough now, man, know what I mean? But I see goodness in people, I don't see any goodness in him, know what I mean? But I see goodness, I can tell when somebody's a good person, and I try and keep good people around about me, because you're who you associate with, it. Do you know what I mean? But as I says, if any's are interested in that case, or even just like the judicial system, I would go and watch that documentary. I would honestly recommend it. And you'll see it from a different angle. It's not like one of these documentaries like it's just showing you where it happened. You know, it's actually you're actually watching legal proceedings, as I say, like Law and Order or whatever. So should maybe check it out, because it was a good documentary, and I wouldn't have probably even made a video about that case. I don't think, if I never seen that, because it made me kind of see it differently watching it played out in court with the real lawyers, the real witnesses and the accused and all that. And it's in Edinburgh High Court. I've never been in there, thank fuck, but aye, so check it out. So I hope that was good anyway. I'm got to go and watch a wee bit of telly before I hit the sack, man. So I need to do a bit of running about tomorrow, man. Brutal. And my other class starts back, so aye, just back to the training now, innit, man. Just stay focused. I wrote a bit more in my book today as well. I'm just sometimes you get distracted. Not I mean, we all get distracted for shit, but just need to focus on the good things because I went through a bit of a wee rough patch last week, man, and I was just sitting. There was something that was just bugging the shit out of me, man, and but I kind of got through it, not I mean, and that's all you can do, like, just make sure, like fucking family stuff, not I mean, just pissing me off, man, but all you can do is fucking make sure you do the right thing in it, do you know what I mean, because I've just had enough of all that shit in my life, man, I don't need any more of it. And I've got a wee boy that depends on me, a wee 12-year-old boy that idolises me, do you know what I mean? And I need to do all the right things for that wee boy. I honestly don't know what I'd be doing if I never had him. I'm not saying I'd be out there causing it, right? But I think I'd be less um, prone to behaving, or there would be less to stop me. Like, I don't know if I'd take more chances. Fuck knows, but it's good to have him because there's nothing that I wouldn't do for my son, and there is absolutely nothing and nobody that would ever separate me and him. I wouldn't care what it was, do you know what I mean? I can't lose my son, man. Um, I'm all he's got and he's all I've got, you know what I mean? But I'm thinking about trying to move for here as well, do you know what I mean? Because it's where I've lived all my life, and it's like sometimes I think I'll just be looked at like, oh, but you're doing brilliant, but I think they sometimes think maybe it's like hard to like undo all the shit you've done when you're area on it. Know what I mean? Like, not that I done anything that bad where I was a fucking looked like a mad serial killer or anything, but obviously like running about doing crazy things. And even though people see the change, it's like I think I've outgrown the place, to be honest. So we'll see what happens, but you all take care and thanks for listening. And I will try and come back on tomorrow night. So you all have a good night. Cheers.